So, Joanna, you've been a lot in the Middle East. What was your impression of being in countries like UAE and KSA?
Yes, first of all, I found it was quite fascinating. And my first discovery was that I have so much presumptions coming from Europe, coming from other countries, that we believe that, unfortunately, how media the perception of women in Middle East is they're close in home, that they're actually not active into field of businesses, and especially in technology. So we have this impression of this very, in a way, I'm sorry to say, backwards. And then I'm coming there, and I was, first of all, I met a person like you, but I met amazing women who are working in fields of technology, in cybersecurity, in AI, data science, and they created unbelievable advancement.
Right.
And now if you go into Emirates and other countries, you see how technology is advanced much further than Europe and USA, and then you see that behind that are women. A real woman who wear abaya. They are abaya.
Yeah.
They're religious. They're really respectful for the culture. At the same time, they have amazing careers. They are the true experts in various fields of which seems very male domain.
Yeah.
So I find this quite fascinating, and I think it's also one of my missions is to bring women from Middle East, and I hope next year we're going to have more of them, experts, to show that this expertise, which is seen as a very male domain, is in the hands of women who are leading incredible organizations and lead incredible technological innovations, and they can be at the same time true to themselves, through their tradition, through their religion, and continue. And do you think that way? Do you think that?
I feel the same way. That's also why I did the speech just now, right? Because I want people to develop a different perspective than they're being fed right now.
Right.
Because the idea is always that we women in the Middle East, or we women who are Muslim, we do not have thriving careers, or we're not educated and developed. And if you look at the history of Islam, at no point can you say this is true. But even if you look at the development of, for example, UAE today, they have twice as many women in STEM than the global average.
Yeah, in chaos.
Almost twice as much.
70% of in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia are women. Because why? Because they knew it when 30 years ago, when actually CAS decided they're going to be innovated.
Right.
They said everyone is invited to create this innovation.
Exactly.
And women said yes, we are go, because they thought for themselves it is for them a future.
Right.
So I hope women from Europe are going to hear this appeal, go to the innovation, go to technologies, and do as the women in the Muslim countries.
Yeah, exactly. There's a great lesson in what's happening in the Middle East for the women in Europe. And I like that you also mentioned, they stay true to their values, which is something that's sometimes frowned upon. But I think one of the things I was discussing just with one of the directors of Orange is that to be grounded in something else than just being a woman, or your looks, or your career, is very powerful. And that's a message I always like to take from the Middle East to Europe. But I also like to remind the women in the Middle East that this is definitely an advantage they have, to not look so much for the validation outside of their external factors. And I think that's really a factor of success for them as well.
And this is an amazing way of saying, because for a very, very long time, since 70s, when women entered the market of there was concept like that they have to give up their femininity,
right,
and they have to give up, and so they were wearing black suits, they were dressed like men, they were acting as men, and it would say there was a betrayal of the femininity. And then it never happened that in Muslim country, because you are, and this is what I find powerful, you didn't have to betray your femininity, you didn't have to betray your womanhood, because you stayed true to yourself, true to your religion, which is you dress, wear, and you have everything according to tradition. But at the same time, you're doing these amazing things and careers, which so we were in a way because we're just discovering now, you don't have to betray that.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't betray.
No.
So I think this is something, a learning we can bring from the Muslim woman.
Yeah, and I think this is something, it's very much grounded in Islam. It's the idea that men and women are not the same, and that we need to respect that. And I mean, for the longest time, this was really frowned upon in the world, where, equality was very much, it was just like, it has to be equal, everybody has to be equal. But even now, in the West, we see that they don't use the word equality anymore.
And diversity is such a clue, right? And which just seems...
right, because we don't have to be the same. And it actually didn't work out when we tried to be the same. That's what we find right now. Because like, how accepted are you if you cannot come as you are, but you have to behave, for example, like a man
Right.
to be accepted? That's not inclusive at all.
It's not inclusive at all.
No, and I think that's something we can definitely learn from that
and that's
part.
why women also, I think they feel betrayed and they feel lost because they feel unhappy and because you say, either you choose career or you choose your family, and that was awful, right? Because the woman stayed alone and decided that I lost something in this process because I had to be stronger than men, and something of myself is being lost. So this is something a learning I think we should share, that you can continue to have a career, but stay according to your rules, and you can do it as well. And maybe the environment, the surrounding, gonna respect you more.
Exactly.
Because they hear you.
Yeah, and so like this is also a message I would like to be more prominent in the Middle East, where sometimes there is the tendency to adapt to whatever is out there, as we people do. We always think like, oh, maybe other people are doing better, but actually staying true to your culture and religion is an incredible strength that we need to safeguard a lot and be careful that we don't in the midst of being ambitious sometimes give up. So that's something I wanted to add. Do you have any final messages?
Yes, I think that's you. You should be proud of yourself, because I think a lot of people in, as I say, Muslim countries, the women feel that they're lacking behind. It's not true at all, and be proud of it. And I hope more women from the technology sector from the Middle East will join us next year for the conference, because I'd like to have more women who are true to the tradition and then sometimes doing incredible things in technology. So please join me next year, and please come to our panels and be practicing as an expert in this event. Women IT Day.
Amazing. I cannot wait, Joanna. That's going to be so exciting. Thank you so much for this short interview.
I don't think we can hug.
Can we hug? Why
No,
not?
No, because after you don't want to be touched.
Not by men.
Ah!